because nothing was done for me, and he just would not let me go. I kept asking the patient to let me go. He said no, that I needed to.
Meet Cassie Ortiz. Cassie had a rather unsettling experience, which is nothing new when you work at a job. Whether it's a bank, fast food joint, or even a nursing home, you should keep watching as you'll see how employment aims to keep people mentally shackled, eventually transforming them into zombies. Patient care at a nursing home not only addresses medical needs, but also emotional and social well-being. At a facility like this one in Virginia, employees receive training on how to treat patients with dignity, fostering a caring community environment. In order to improve patients' general health and sense of well-being, regular evaluations, family communication, and tailored treatment make them feel appreciated and supported throughout the rehabilitation or long-term care journey. Okay, that is excellent. Now, let's see what the employees get.
He had my jean jacket completely with one hand and his hand on my neck, pushing me down. So I was very scared.
Ortiz says she was also kicked and punched by the patient.
Nothing was done for me.
Wow. Imagine going to get a diploma or a degree to encounter that. You can literally walk alone at night in a rough area of town to encounter that treatment without having to spend your time and money on education. So let's take a look at the full story.
Cassie Ortiz gets emotional when talking about the patients she grew close with while working at a nursing home.
It's hard for me to leave something that I absolutely love.
She was even finishing up her MBA so she could be a nursing home administrator. Then she had a change of heart.
I will never pursue it at this point.
All because of a frightening attack inside the Colonial Heights Rehabilitation and Nursing Center, where she worked as the director of social work.
And this incident caused you not to pursue
Yes.
your dream of becoming an administrator?
Correct. Because nothing was done for me.
Ortiz was called to help with a patient who was yelling at other residents. While trying to calm him down, she says he exposed himself, then tried to sexually assault her.
He had my jean jacket completely with one hand and his hand on my neck, pushing me down. I kept asking the patient to let me go. He said no, that I needed to perform oral sex on him, and he just would not let me go. So I was very scared.
Ortiz says she was also kicked and punched by the patient.
I would have loved to have done something, but I couldn't. My hands were tied because we're not allowed to touch the patients. So
you were not allowed to fight back?
No. We're not allowed to touch the patients at all if they assault us.
Ortiz says another social worker finally helped her escape. Once free, she went down to the magistrate's office to take out an emergency custody order. ECOs allow law enforcement to apprehend a person experiencing a mental health crisis and transport them to a hospital for treatment.
He was taken to the hospital, evaluated, and they sent him right back because he was no longer acting out. No one asked me if I was okay. No one asked me if I needed counseling. No one asked me if gave me time off. It was awful. Okay, you just got to go back to work the next day.
On top of that, Ortiz says she was repeatedly asked to intervene and stop this patient's behavior.
I just didn't do it.
Ortiz ended up reporting the assault to Colonial Heights police, who investigated and consulted with prosecutors. But Commonwealth's attorney Greg Collins says he could not pursue the case because of the patient's mental state at the time of the attack.
For my office to prosecute people with mental health crisis is not something that the General Assembly or the populace really wants us to do.
The average salary of a director of social work is said to be around $32 an hour. While many would be excited for a wage like this, what they don't tell you about employment is that the more you make, the more you'll have to take. For instance,
I would have loved to have done something, but I couldn't. My hands were tied because we're not allowed to touch the patients. So
you were not allowed to fight back?
No. We're not allowed to touch the patients at all if they assault us.
This right here is why many of us have turned into zombies. Employers make crazy demands, and we abide by them for the sake of making money. Now, last time we checked, people in hospital beds do not make money. And by chance, if you do happen to have an employer that pays for injuries on the job, you can rest assured that during your recovery period, they'll be looking for your replacement. This has happened countless times. So, as is said at the start of every boxing match, protect yourselves at all times.
I will never pursue it at this point.
And this incident caused you not to pursue your
Yes.
dream of becoming an administrator?
Correct. Because nothing was done for me.
And truth be told, nothing will be done for you, especially with these private companies that don't operate from a large budget. This is why we strongly encourage business ownership, as you cannot expect another person or entity to look after your financial future. This solely rests upon your shoulders.
I kept asking the patient to let me go. He said no, that I needed to perform oral sex on him, and he just would not let me go. So I was very scared.
Once again, is there any amount of money large enough to subject yourself to this reprehensive behavior? Cassie acknowledged that her dream was to become a nursing home administrator. A situation like this is perfect because she has experience in the field, so any individual in a circumstance like hers would already understand the operations and would know how to deal with disturbing events such as this.
Ortiz says when she was there were more than 20 psych patients living on site.
Our job is to not manage psychiatric patients. We're not equipped to do that. There's no accountability. I mean, the police can't do anything, administrators can't do anything. We can't defend ourselves.
The times we're living in call for more government institutions to be erected for mentally disturbed individuals, especially ones that have shown clear signs of violent behavior. This, of course, is not something that we should hold our breath for. You heard that the prosecution also has their hands tied in handling cases like these. So one of the only resorts is to start your own care home and be in control of the patients that are admitted. Miss Ortiz clearly said they weren't equipped to handle psychiatric patients, yet they still wanted her to deal with the same violent patient. Thankfully, she declined. The things seen in this story are typical with jobs. Unequipped, as was just mentioned, uncaring, as she mentioned that nobody asked her if she was okay. Nobody asked her if she needed counseling. Nobody offered her any time off after this ordeal. Basically, glad nothing bad happened, see you tomorrow. And unaccountable. It was reported that within the past year of this occurrence, 22 911 calls were made from the facility, mostly violent events, but police couldn't do anything, and the company administration wouldn't do anything. In fact, they encouraged having more psych patients at the facility so that all the beds were full.
Because their ownership company, Innovative Healthcare Management, wants to ensure as many beds as possible are full.
So it's all about the money. It has nothing to do with the patients and the care that they're getting.
Is it big business?
It's a big business.
This is exactly what employees need to see firsthand, that employers are not looking for the interests of the employees, but are looking at ways to maximize profits. And it's tough to say, but sometimes even at the expense of a Cassie. So, if you were in Cassie's position, what would you have done if you were being attacked? Would you have cared about your job security? Would you have thought about the monthly mortgage payments? Let us know in the comments, but don't leave without first downloading your free copy of the Employment Apocalypse Survival Guide. This is a handy resource that will give you tips and strategies on how to survive life with a job. Perhaps it's time to move on to start your own venture. Topics like this and several others can be found within this guide. Just click on the registration link in the description box below to receive the details. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can be an official supporter of the Job Zombie movement. And, as always, thanks for watching.